and erupted in Parliament. Mkhwanazi has spoken and laid down a startling demand. President Ramaphosa should resign forthwith. What ensued was pure political drama. In peace brawling, shouting erupted and the country left shell-shocked by the never-before-seen melodrama. Is this the moment that finally shatters Ramaphosa's presidency? Stay with us until the bitter end as we dissect the complete story, the explosive reactions, and what this looks like for South Africa's future. And before we begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss explosive news like this one. Parliament has seen its fair share of fiery debates, but what has happened today has already been called one of the most anarchic sessions in years. In the middle of the storm stood Mkhwanazi, who courageously called for Ramaphosa's resignation, alleging that he had betrayed the people and lost leadership. The House instantly became a battlefield of words, with him from both sides colliding, some coming to the defense of Ramaphosa, others joining the call for him to vacate. The vehemence of the exchange was unprecedented in years, as if years of pent-up anger boiled out all at once. Mkhwanazi issued his call to Ramaphosa with fervor and passion. He blamed Ramaphosa for botching current scandals, not bringing the nation together, and giving corruption room to grow on his watch. His words struck home. Mr. President, you have failed this nation. It's time to step down. Those words seemed to slice through the chamber like a knife. The silence that followed was brief, quickly shattered by shouting, heckling, and angry responses from ANC MPs who leapt to Ramaphosa's defense. Some called Mkhwanazi's statement reckless. Others accused him of trying to destabilize the government at a critical time. But the damage had been done. The spark had ignited a firestorm. What was supposed to be a routine session turned into a full-blown clash. Opposition MPs joined in, some supporting Mkhwanazi's call, while ANC loyalists pushed back fiercely. The speakers struggled to restore order, banging the gavel repeatedly as the chamber descended into chaos. At one point, MPs could be seen standing toe-to-toe, shouting across the floor, their voices echoing across the hall. The tension reached a fever pitch that security was said to be put on standby in case the shouting turned into something more physical. No longer was it debate, but an all-out verbal combat threatening to spill over into something else far more combustible. And what of Ramaphosa himself? The president himself did not lose his temper, but looked visibly uneasy as the calls for his resignation reached a deafening pitch. He sat quietly at first, his expression tense as Mkhwanazi unleashed his accusations. When he finally addressed the chamber, Ramaphosa dismissed Mkhwanazi's remarks as nothing more than political grandstanding. He insisted that he remains committed to serving the people of South Africa and called on MPs to focus on real issues instead of theatrics. But his words did little to cool the fire. Opposition MPs persisted in their chanting and calls for accountability, overpowering most of his explanation. In the streets outside Parliament, the heat spilled rapidly into public space. Twitter flashed with the hashtags #Ramaphosa Musco and #ParliamentChaos as South Africans were polarized by the incredible footage. Footage of MPs yelling, finger-pointing, and the speaker's futile bid to regain order within minutes went viral. Others lauded Mkhwanazi for being brave enough to speak up, commenting that he was expressing frustrations many of its citizens endure on a day-to-day basis. They maintained that Ramaphosa has not made good on campaign promises of reform, not eradicated corruption, and not alleviated the day-to-day hardships everyday South Africans endure. But not everyone agreed. Others criticized Mkhwanazi for creating instability, accusing him of chasing headlines instead of solutions. They pointed out that the country is already grappling with economic struggles, unemployment, and social tensions, adding a political crisis on top of all that could push South Africa deeper into uncertainty. For them, Mkhwanazi's fiery outburst was reckless, a move that could do more harm than good. Protests and rallies are already being planned by groups on both sides of the divide. In a few cities, tiny crowds protested outside ANC offices, calling for Ramaphosa's resignation. In other areas, supporters of the government rallied in defense of the president, labeling Mkhwanazi an opportunity seeking to undermine the state. For Ramaphosa supporters, this was a dangerous stunt aimed at destroying his leadership. For his opponents, it was a moment of truth long delayed. Either way, the nation now prepares for what could be the beginning of another stormy chapter in its political history. The political stakes of this confrontation are enormous. The opposition parties feel empowered, sensing the moment of vulnerability for Ramaphosa. Experts caution that it could set off renewed attempts at yet another attempt to impeach or another motion of no confidence against the president. And yet, though Ramaphosa has weathered such struggles in the past, the stakes this time seem greater. The theatre has stripped away the veneer of cracks in the ruling party, revealing quite how shallow the ANC's cohesion actually is. In the meantime, cracks in the ANC may widen further as members quietly wonder if Ramaphosa will be able to weather the increasing pressure. The party's cohesion, already shaky, is again seriously strained. Some within the party are overheard saying that Ramaphosa has lost the support of ordinary people. Others that replacing him now would send the ANC into further turmoil. Battle lines are being drawn not only across parties but within them. It's not merely about a single explosive parliamentary session. It's about the future of South Africa. The call for Ramaphosa to resign underscores the intensifying anger at leadership, corruption, and economic stagnation. For millions of citizens, the mayhem in Parliament is echoed in their daily frustrations of unemployment, increasing prices, and bad service delivery. To them, the dramatic action by Mkhwanazi was more than mere political drama. It was a call for accountability in a system that many feel has failed them repeatedly. Even so, critics claim that ousting Ramaphosa will not address the deeper structural issue South Africa is plagued by. Corruption is not in one man. They contend and economic troubles won't disappear overnight with leadership change. Rather, they contend for stability, reforms, and planning ahead. But whatever one thinks about Mkhwanazi, one thing is certain. His tantrum struck a national chord of frustration, anger, and irritation with politics business as usual. And so the question is now if this is a turning point of the nation's politics or merely another chapter of never-ending drama. Will Ramaphosa retain power, weathering the tempest once again? Or will this theatrical showdown signal the end of his presidency?